Hi, today we'll see the movie Gargi. The film follows the journey of a woman whose father is falsely accused of assault, highlighting her struggles against a prejudiced society and a broken legal system. It starts off as a normal day for our protagonist Gargi. She works as a school teacher and today she is invigilating an exam. She gets a call from her boyfriend. She excitedly asks if they agreed to their marriage, but her boyfriend says that they asked for a car and more money as dowry. Gargi feels sad. She says that she won't burden her dad anymore and asks her boyfriend to call off the marriage. Her boyfriend then reveals that it's just a joke and makes a few more jokes to calm her down. Later that day when Gargi is sitting with her colleagues, she sees a shocking news on the TV. It seems that a young girl was drugged and assaulted by 4 people from another state. They were arrested and imprisoned. Later the same news comes up, and it says that a new 5th person has been found out and that the accused has been held by cops. Suddenly, we see a flashback of a small girl being scolded by her teacher for failing in class. Another teacher interrupts him and says that he'll take care of her. He seems very kind. He consoles the little girl and tells that he will take care of everything. But she has to come for extra tuition in the evenings. The girl feels something wrong with the way he touches her. Later that day, Gargi realizes that both her dad and her younger sister haven't returned home. Gargi scolds her mum for letting her younger sister play out late in the evening. Younger sister returns later the evening and she gets scolded by Gargi. Her younger sister says that it was very crowded where their dad worked and that's why she got a bit delayed. Gargi goes to the apartment to check on her dad, but she is told by the police that there is some investigation and all the workers will return home late. They don't provide her with any information, so she returns home. She gets spotted by a journalist who lives in that apartment. At home, she lies to her mother, saying that her dad got night shift at work, and he didn't inform anyone because his phone ran out of battery. Later that night, her neighbor gets a call from the police to pick up the neighbor's dad from the police station. So Gargi goes to accompany her. The neighbor's dad works along with Gargi's dad in the same apartment. On the way, she gets diabetes pills for her dad, but she doesn't have the money, so she promises the pharmacist that she will pay him the next day. On reaching the police station, they immediately find the neighbor's dad, and he is asked to leave. The police call Gargi inside. The cop gives her a shocking news that her dad is the 5th person who is arrested as the accused in the incident involving the small child. The police also advises her to leave the town along with her family for their own safety. Gargi breaks down but the police chase her away. She immediately calls her big shot lawyer uncle. He also tells her to leave the police station for now and that he will handle everything. She notices that some cops were carrying medicine and food inside. She makes a guess that the medicine could be for her dad and decides to follow the police. She is right and her dad has been kept in prison in the same station. She tries to talk to her dad, but the police ask her to leave immediately, and they also drop her off at home. She is once again noticed by the same journalist. She takes the police ride halfway home and decides to walk rest of the way so as to not raise suspicion among her neighbors, but she feels uneasy the entire way. The next day, Gargi is woken up by the sound of stones shattering her window. She realizes that multiple stones have been thrown at her house, but she doesn't know why. When she goes out to pick the newspaper, she gets a creepy stare from her neighbor. On opening the newspaper, she is shocked to find that her dad's arrest has been published in front page. She immediately tells her mum and sister to stay inside the entire day and do not open the door until she returns, and then she steps out of the house to go meet with her uncle, the lawyer, at the court. As soon as she steps out of the house, she is barraged by reporters on all sides. Gargi runs away and gets into an auto. At the courthouse, a huge crowd has been gathered. Gargi is greeted by the pharmacist she met the day before. The pharmacist reveals that he is actually a junior advocate who works for Gargi's uncle, and he only works in the pharmacy in the evenings to make ends meet. After the first court session ends, Gargi's dad is brought from the court into the police van, but on the way the crowd attacks him mercilessly. Gargi tries to shout and save her dad, but nobody can hear her. While talking to her uncle, she gets another shocking news. Her uncle's lawyers association has barred anybody from representing the accused because it involves a small child, so he says that he cannot represent Gargi's dad. Gargi tries crying and pleading, but her uncle does not budge. On the way out, the junior advocate says that if anybody cannot acquire a lawyer by themselves, they can go to the 3rd floor where a free lawyer would be appointed by the court. So Gargi goes there, but all the lawyers there are just lazing around and they scold and chase her out. Left with no hope and no options left, Gargi goes home for the day. On the way, she meets her boyfriend. The boyfriend says that Gargi and her family can run away with him, and they can leave the state and they can get married. Gargi outright refuses and tells him that she will defend her innocent dad, and if he ever wants to talk to her again that he should come through the front door and not hiding in the middle of the street. At night the junior advocate comes back and says he would like to represent Gargi's dad. Gargi immediately agrees. Finally she has some hope. After a few days, the court hearing begins again. The opposing lawyer calls the senior inspector to the witness stand. The inspector explains what happened. Every day a house worker from one of the houses takes the dog for walking, and every day, the little girl comes to play with the dog and feed him biscuits. This is a routine for them. Since the apartment has an elevator, nobody else takes the staircase. The house worker noticed that the girl comes alone, so he plans along with his friends to assault the girl. The next evening at 5:30 p.m. as they planned, they sedate the girl and take turns assaulting her, one by one. Suddenly, they hear a sound and they run away. Everybody is shocked to hear the details. The police track the accused and then arrest them soon. The DNA test also reveals that they are the culprits. They also conduct an identification test and the victim correctly identifies the 4 accused at that time. She informs her dad that there was one more person who committed the crime. That is when Gargi dad comes into the picture. So the cops conduct one more identification test and the victim correctly points at Gargi's dad. Next the junior advocate is called to cross-examine the investigating officer. The junior advocate stumbles at first, and he's scolded by both the judge and mocked by the opposing lawyer. But suddenly he gets a revelation. He asks the investigating officer what medicine they gave to the little girl during the identification test. The investigating officer tells as mentioned in the report that the girl had forgotten her medicine and so they had gone to purchase the same for her. But luckily, the driver was also taking the same medicine, so the investigating officer confirmed with the victim's dad that whether it was the same medicine, and gave it to her and continued the investigation. The junior advocate asks, "Did you check the dosage of the medicine?" The investigating officer is surprised and reveals did not. The junior advocate uses his experience as a pharmacist and mentions that the medicine is a barbiturate, and since they gave an adult dosage to a child, she would have been very confused. The judge immediately orders an expert opinion. An expert doctor is brought, and he says the same thing, that adult dosage should never be given to a child since it's a barbiturate, and it would have caused a lot of confusion and potentially fatal harm to the child. The judge scolds the police for giving the wrong dosage. Then the judge gives 7 days grace time and another identification test to be conducted at that time. Hearing this, the opposing lawyer mocks the judge that if it was a normal judge and not a transgender judge, then they would have ended long ago. The judge replies that since she is a transgender, she's right person because she understands the pain of women and also the arrogance of men. Now the flashback continues. The kind teacher was teaching a group of little kids at his home. At that time, he tells the little girl, who we saw previously in the flashback, to get him ink from the shelf. The girl obediently does so, but when she turns back, she is shocked to see the teacher standing very close to her. She gets scared immediately, drops the ink bottle, and runs away. The kind teacher gives an evil smile. Gargi and junior advocate go to meet her dad. Gargi hides in a corner because she cannot see her dad. When Gargi's dad starts speaking, Gargi is not able to control herself and start crying. Now the junior advocate asks her dad about his version of events. Gargi's dad says that as soon as he saw the child, he was shocked to the core. He did what any dad would do and rushed the girl to her house. After a while the victim's dad forced all of them to leave, and that he would take care of her. The junior advocate asks that his shift ends at 6 p.m., but he stayed till 6:30 p.m. Gargi's dad replies that since his neighbor watchman didn't come to work that day because he was looking for an alliance for his daughter, so he had to work the night shift also. Even though he is just watchman, all the tenants mistreat him, and he gets tired, so he had a few glasses of alcohol to take the edge off. The dad asks Gargi to look at his face one time, but Gargi refuses to do so. When the dad walks away, sadly Gargi takes a small glance at him. Gargi and junior advocate try asking everybody, but they get no clues. The neighbor also corroborates that that day he took off because groom had come to see his daughter. The flashback continues. We see Gargi's mum going out to buy some veggies and leaving the little girl alone with the evil teacher, so it is revealed that the little girl is Gargi. The evil teacher starts harassing Gargi. He says that she looks very pretty in her yellow dress. Suddenly Gargi's dad enters. He scolds the teacher and chases him away. Now the dad tells Gargi that you are my daughter. If anything happens, close your eyes and think of me for 1 second, and you'll automatically get courage, and never be scared of anything. Now we understand why Gargi believes in her dad so much. We also understand why Gargi doesn't want her younger sister to go out late at the evening, and also why she hates the color yellow. Gargi decides to take an extreme step. She wants to go and meet the victim herself. The victim's dad is extremely angry at her. He reveals how much pain the little girl is in. Even if the little girl is in pain, and the dad runs to help her, the little girl becomes scared of her own dad and starts crying and shouting even more. The victim's dad also says that the little girl used to have incredible memory, but since the incident, she has lost all her ability to think. Even at the identification test, the little girl couldn't remember properly. The victim's father also says that he will definitely teach his child how Gargi's dad looks and will make her identify him for sure. Then he calms down a bit and tells Gargi that she can go talk to the little girl. As soon as Gargi goes to talk to the victim, another relative comes into the house. He grabs Gargi by the neck and throws her out of the house. Gargi is very shaken. She slowly picks herself up and walks down. All this is seen by the same reporter who accused Gargi's dad. At home, Gargi has a fight with her mum. Her mum says that whatever is meant to happen will happen. Gargi is completely broken because, after all she has done, her mum believes in fate rather than her. Because Gargi is just a girl, she locks herself in the room and falls asleep. The junior advocate thinks all night long, and he takes a decision. Next day in the court, he presents a new evidence. Here it is revealed that junior advocate recorded everything the victim's dad said in the previous evening, including the part where he said that he would make his daughter point that Gargi dad. Seeing this, the judge says that her dad should not be present when the identification test happens. The identification test begins without the victim's father. The little girl filled with anxiety and she struggles to even stand. Suddenly, she starts shaking violently and calls out for her dad. The dad runs, pushes the cop away and takes her daughter home, and is done with the case. So the second identification test has also failed. Now there is no evidence against Gargi's dad. The judge says that the case is suspended. If sometime in the future, the victim is able to identify the accused again, then he will be arrested. Till then Gargi's dad can leave but has to sign in police station every day. Gargi happily returns home with her father. At their home, the victim's father has come to kill Gargi's father. It is a tense standoff. Right at that moment, Gargi's younger sister comes home. Seeing the younger sister, the man breaks down. He hugs the little girl tightly, asks her to take care, and leaves peacefully. The judge also mercilessly scolds the reporter. The media tortured both the victim and accused family, and says that they are one of the main reason the case is not completed. The next day, everybody gets together and is happy at home. Gargi says that she wants to buy alcohol for her dad because he still seems a bit down, but the neighbor says that he will take care and that she should take rest. Both the neighbor and Gargi's dad get very drunk and return home late. Then the neighbor says that Gargi is a gem, and her dad is very lucky to have a daughter like her. He also breaks down, mentions that his own daughter ran away with another guy, and that he was insulted by everyone. He felt so angry that he got drunk and wanted to go home and hit her. But it was Gargi's dad who called him down and made him sleep in the apartment. Gargi suddenly realizes that he admitted to being in the apartment and lied about taking the whole day off as previously mentioned. The next day, both Gargi and her dad go to sign at the police station. At that time, Gargi asks her dad what he was doing from 6 to 6:30 p.m. Her dad lies again. It is now revealed what actually happened. It was the neighbor's dad who made the noise that made all the criminals run away. When he saw the child semi-conscious, he ran to tell Gargi's dad about the gruesome sight. Gargi's dad also told the neighbor that if anybody asks, he should say that he was on leave the entire day. Suddenly in the police station, everybody is made to go outside. Gargi's father is made to wait. The judge brought in. This time Gargi brings the little girl. It is revealed that the previous night, Gargi and the advocate went to the victim's house. At that time, Gargi asks the little girl to look at her dad's photo one last time and confirm that he was not the culprit. The girl gets angry and shouts, "That was the man who hurt me. Why is everyone torturing me? Leave Emmy alone." Hearing this, Gargi breaks down. Here it is shown that her dad really did commit the crime. Now, we are back to the present. Gargi boldly motivates the girl to identify the culprit. The girl correctly identifies Gargi's dad. Gargi's dad breaks down and begs her forgiveness. The judge orders Gargi's dad to be taken into custody. All the memories of her past floods her. Gargi walks away. Gargi is heartbroken, but she is at peace. In the post-credit scene, Gargi's younger sister attains puberty, so they arrange a traditional celebration. Gargi also accepts her past and no longer hates the color yellow. The junior advocate also becomes good friends with Gargi's uncle. The reporter who accused Gargi that also becomes friends with the family. Gargi's younger sister says that Gargi is very chill nowadays and doesn't scold her at all. We also see that the girl who was assaulted has become very strong and has also come to take part in the celebration. Gargi sees her ex-boyfriend drive through her street without even noticing her. It seems they broke up. The movie ends with reporter telling Gargi's younger sister welcome to womanhood.